News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Welcome to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning.
I'm Allan Gilbreth, darkhookmedia.com.
And I'm Maximilian. And Allan, just for you and your kin, happy Bagpipe Appreciation Day.
Hey, we can all get behind that. Holy smoke, bagpipes are awesome.
Way behind. Behind.
And I want those played at my funeral, by the way.
I have a question for the panel and for those texting out there. What is the best use of bagpipes in a song or just in general, period?
Can I vote on that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll vote later because I don't want to spoil
I got
it
two in mind.
Me too. I bet one of them is the same. So
I bet they're both the same.
Bagpipe Appreciation Day. Well, I sure hope everybody out there appreciates them. What is more epic than bagpipes playing over
something that can scream from valley to valley.
Exactly.
And not only that, but they also screamed on the beaches of Normandy.
Yeah. I mean, they are dramatic.
They've made it to a lot of military campaigns.
Okay. Excellent. All right. National Bagpipe Day. So anything
Appreciation
else?
Day.
Appreciation Day.
And unfortunately, I have to say Happy National New Jersey Day.
Okay, well, I'm sure people will be. So we
considering
just wrote
the
off
number
the New Jersey
of
listeners,
expatriates from New Jersey that are here, you better smile when you say that.
New Jersey's worth, okay. We want to keep them happy, Max.
It's a great place to be from.
Okay, National New Jersey Day. All right, that's on the table as well. Wow, what a show! We haven't even gotten to the phone number yet, and it's already rocking. But if you want to get in on the action today, it's a good day to do it. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. We also invite you to go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and check out the posts we've made over there, including, Allan, our great moments in building history. Now, Allan, this is a small structure. I dare say it probably costs nothing to build, but it's a small structure that had worldwide inspiration and fallout and it changed the world, literally, this little place.
Tiny San Bernardino, California. The
world's first McDonald's. And we're going to probably steer clear of some of the things I want to say because if you ever watch that movie, The Founder, what a great movie. But we're mostly going to celebrate the two founders of this institution and ergonomics and the use of space and
much like our dear buddy Mr. Saunders with his Pink Palace and the Piggly Wiggly grocery stores. These were tiny ideas that were absolutely world changing.
Absolutely. So we're gonna that's on the table. We have we're calling this 5 years of single-ply toilet paper, a retrospective. Allan, that's one of the hills I'll die on. It's been 5 years since we changed our household, and I couldn't be happier. So I'm going to report in on that. We have a must-have item of the week. I've got 2 words for Allan's week in review, The Purge. Is that accurate?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That is so accurate.
Not that criminal type of purge. Nothing like that.
I didn't say that.
Okay. And I'm just throwing it out there because I've spoke to some people this week about this topic, and we were discussing it last week, and I'm going to leave it out there if people want to chime in. And that is the fact that home security robots are basically here now, and it's really just a matter of how much do you want to spend, what options do you want to add, what are the legalities and all that. And so if you've still got any thoughts about that, feel free to text in and let us know your thoughts. But I've got more. Avalanche redecorating, Allan. It's funny how life is. And one decision can suddenly upset. Well, I shouldn't say upset. It can suddenly just motivate you and just push things in a new direction.
We'll leave it as that one snowflake that landed just right to begin the avalanche.
That's perfect. Exactly. That's what happened.
Years of bent-up frustration, or I'm going to call it decorating blindness.
There we go. So that's there. And so there's quite a bit, and I didn't even tease all the notes that I have here. But before we get to any of that, here's what I've got for us, you guys. I've been thinking about this because, you look around the toolbox or you look around the big box store these days, and we've all seen these commercials, especially, boy, if you grew up in the 1980s, these were these infomercials these must, as seen on TV. You know, it's always that.
Oh, yeah.
There's a sign in the store. It says, as seen on TV, the Ginzu knife or the whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to talk about tools or whatever you want to say, devices that worked really well, that were as seen on TV, and the ones that were a complete bomb and a waste of money. And I thought, even Max has purchased some of these. So
I have to be careful about what I say, though.
yeah, okay. I want to say one nice. Well, what do we want to? It's probably more fun to start with the ones that don't work.
No,
right?
do the nice one first so that we can get the bad stuff
Yeah,
out.
do the 3 that actually worked out of the 40,000.
Okay, one that people may not realize falls into this category. If you're a little younger, you might not realize that super glue was that. Remember that guy that used to
Glue his hat to
helmet
the-
to a
yep.
I-beam and he hung himself, from however
yeah.
many. And that works. I think super
No,
glue.
it
And
did.
there's variations of that. And one more adhesive substance that works for me. You know the guy that I think he shoots a hole in the bottom of a boat and then he sticks that rubberized tape. I should have researched more. What's that tape called? That's it's like it comes in clear and black.
You're looking at all of the different Flexi Seal products.
Flexi Seal.
Yes.
I like Flexi Seal. I like their tape. It's almost too sticky. Like I put it on something once, and it took forever to just pull it off.
Yeah,
but
you better make sure you line it up right the
it's
first time.
always worked great for me. I've got others, but I want to throw it open to the panel here about this because Allan, I'm sure you've had your encounters here. And
They're legion.
It
They're
seems like they
legion.
always have funny names too. Like they always rhyme, like the Dust Daddy or the Window Whiz or the whatever. So, but.
Well, there is an entire subclass marketplace of the late night advertising.
Now, Al, let me ask you something because you always know everything.
Yep.
Okay. Why? Okay.
I love that accusation.
Well, why are some tool? Okay. Here's what I picture. You remember that classic episode of The Honeymooners when Ralph and Ed, they get a hold of these. They get 1,000 of those little handy housewife helper things, and they go on TV to try to sell it.
Right.
That's exactly what it reminds me of. Just some cheap, gimmicky idea that somebody comes up with and says, "Well, if we sell it this way, we can sell it."
All right. Well, let's go with late night advertising
Okay.
is an offshoot of home markets.
Talk to me.
You and I do home shows.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, at the home show, we sat across one year from an amazing Barker marketer.
Oh, I know who you're. Yeah.
And
Some
now-
people are better at it than others. Too.
And I will freely admit, I own at least 3 of his products because what he had was a little thingy that sat on the top of a 5-gallon bucket.
That guy was just he couldn't collect the money fast enough. At that
And
booth, man.
the thing is, he had a whole shtick, like a comedy routine,
Mm-hmm.
that he just kept playing over and over and over again. And that is where your late night advertising came from. Because you had people like Ron Popeil.
Yeah.
We're going to go back in history here. And Ron Popeil was one of these marketers. And they, back in the this is the early days of TV, so we still didn't know what we were doing yet.
right.
And it was kind of like, all right, let's go on TV and give me that little dinky fishing rod.
Yeah.
And we're going to get all excited about it. And we're going to have the Ron Popeil's Pocket Fisherman. Yay! It's
Gosh,
a
is that
fishing
thing
rod. What is it, 12 inches long, 18 inches long, whatever it was. It was like a fishing rod that fit in the glove compartment of your car.
Yeah.
How utterly ridiculous.
I think it was even called a pocket fisherman.
It was the
or
pocket
something.
fisherman. And, and then just weird products came from there. Weird products you can still find in somebody's home. You had Mooney,
Yeah.
which was like a 30-pound device that looked like an old guy dropping his pants. I mean, this thing was like out of cast metal. You
Right.
hung it over the window and you mooned people as you went by with the little thingy.
I remember those. Yeah.
Do you remember Billy Bass?
The
The fish that would sing every time you crossed the infrared beam in front of him.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He would sing, "Throw Me in the River."
Yeah.
So, all right, the idea is that you could get excited about these things, and a lot depended on how you showed it to people.
See, it's funny because when you said that, so folks, because Allan, you really triggered me with your talk about the guy at the home show. He literally has this little device. Everybody knows what a 5-gallon bucket looks like. Everybody probably has a few in their garage. Well, he has this little thing. It goes on there. And so when you're working on your car or when you're working on something, you put this on there, and it's like he creates a swivel seat.
Yes.
It's $20.
Yes.
Nobody objects to dropping $20. People will throw $20 at anything. If it was 25, I bet he wouldn't sell nearly as many.
Correct.
So the price point was correct.
Yes.
Maybe that's where the big jumping off point is with these as seen on TV products, is they're never really expensive.
All right. Well, how many convection ovens did you buy?
Yeah, I didn't. What do you mean?
Didn't. You don't even know what a convection oven is.
Isn't that where it blows the air around?
It blows the air around.
Okay.
But you know what? You take those 47 warehouses full of convection ovens because the general public you're marketing to can't spell convection. I'm getting on a soapbox.
Yeah,
Can you hear this?
Let's insult everybody today. So,
No. Because now you change it to something classy.
Yeah.
And it's an air fryer.
Oh, or simple to understand.
Bingo.
Okay. Well, there's more to it. I knew we'd get some mileage out of this. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
We have radon coming from below. We have asbestos in the ceilings. These are silent killers.
You are the silent killer.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Okay. Yeah. He probably was, too. We all have these theories about Toby. Anyway, welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I better just focus. This isn't office talk radio. It's Tool Talk. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. We'd love to hear from you if you're from New Jersey, because today is National New Jersey Day.
Or Scotland.
Or Scotland, because as Max indicated, today is Bagpipe Appreciation Day, and this isn't sarcasm. I love bagpipes. I thoroughly, anytime you insert a bagpipe into a song, it always adds epic quality.
And my question stands with regards to the audience. What's your favorite use of bagpipes in any song?
Absolutely, because Max and I will give our opinion later.
And don't go for the easy cop-out like the Scottish national anthem.
Right. No, we want
pop music.
Yeah, exactly. And before we move on from that, Allan, Max, you said bagpipes are probably older than we realize, right?
There's a Hittite wall carving that dates around 1000 BC.
Holy
of the very instrument itself.
What was it? What was it made out of?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Probably like an ox stomach or something.
Well, yeah, it was one of those. It was a leather bladder, and you gave it a good squeeze, and you could. The idea was that you needed to communicate over great distances.
Is that what that was about? Like a signaling type of thing?
That is exactly what it is about.
Well, the echo quality just adds to that effect.
Well, all right, so you have Invader A coming in from the right.
Right.
You live on Hill A, and you need to warn everybody in Hill B. Well, instead of having to, saddle up a runner and trying to make sure they get through, you put the bagpiper up on top, and you played the Look Out, Here Comes Trouble song. Right. And everybody for 12 miles downhill knew trouble was coming.
Okay.
So, as a communication device, drums and winded instruments were very good at letting people know over a distance what you're trying to communicate to them.
And motivating the troops. I mean, we saw that in the Revolutionary War, right? And
having a bagpipe come up behind you will definitely make you move forward.
Yeah.
And I say that as a Scottish descendant. Yes.
Absolutely. So, all right. So that's out on the table. And, we'd love to hear your thoughts. But we'd also love to hear your thoughts because we're talking today about gimmicky tools, gimmicky items that you buy on TV. And we'd love to know if you've had any. Some of them are great. Some of them work as advertised. But then there's some where it's like, I think Allan hit it right on the mark. What hooks you is the price point. It's like,
yes,
it's like, and you get all of this for only $19.95. But wait, we're also going to throw in 4 more of these other things. And It just seems impossible that you're getting this much for $20 or whatever.
And the Popeil company actually copyrighted, but wait.
Yeah.
Because they knew it was such a phrase that,
Right.
So if you wanted to have that in your commercial, you had to write them a check.
But we've seen these. I mean, we've seen, and some of them, like I said, some of them work. I just picture a big warehouse full of these things, and they got to move them. So they call the advertising company, and they get them on.
Well,
because not everything is sold on TV that way.
No, but certain items lend themselves better.
Right.
And occasionally, amazing products come through this system. There is a gentleman who spent $40,000 of his own money, and he created a chop saw that would literally cut a car in half.
Okay.
And this was one of those, he was trying to get a gig on, as sold on TV. And what he ended up inventing was a chop saw where the spinning blade, there was two blades, one went forward, one went in reverse, and this has become like a huge fireman's tool. Because it's like a little
car door or something.
I mean, it's like a little mini jaws of death. They can cut a car in half.
Wow.
And get you out of it.
Nice.
And this was one of those products that was actually being developed to go on TV.
Okay.
We actually have a texter on the text line with regards to perhaps a good product that was seen on TV.
Okay.
Has anyone ever tried the ShamWow?
Tell us what that. I know what that is. Right.
That was
an
early attempt in microcloths.
It's a chamois is basically it's like a leathery kind of
right. It's for
cloth,
like washing the car and that kind of stuff.
but it holds a lot of water.
It does.
And then you squeeze it, but it's got a slight texture to it. Is that right?
Well, today we say the word microfiber and nobody pays any attention.
Okay.
Because we're so used to it now. We got microfiber mops. We got microfiber towels. And all that is tiny, 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 tiny little breaks and hairs and curls in the material itself that makes up the cloth, which makes it hold dozens of times more material than its natural counterparts.
Okay. Wait, hey, what's the texter's name, Max?
Not given, but they're from a Missouri number.
Oh, okay.
636.
Okay, well, whoever you are, mysterious texter, I'm pretty sure my wife had a ShamWow. And,
she also had a Snuggie.
That was kind of frightening.
Yeah,
that was kind of frightening.
Those are funny too. But
Derek from Munford.
As I recall, they worked. I seem to remember I was washing the car with it and got, how like you're washing a car and all of a sudden you just get a big black streak somewhere because you hit like a piece of oil or something.
Right.
And I do recall that there was a stain that never came out of it, but it works. I mean, I like the fact that it was it held water. It reminded me like it almost reminded me of suede or something. I don't know, but
well, it was an.
I give it an 80% success.
Yeah, well, it was an early product that later went completely mainstream.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's what happens sometimes. Well, there's one that I'm really curious about. I don't know if we can name names, but let's just not name names. But I think everybody's seen this. There's one, Allan, that I'm very tempted by. We all know what a socket wrench is,
right?
Okay. Well, this attaches to your socket wrench handle, but it's almost a universal size. It's got these little metal spears almost like so that when you put it on, it fits to whatever size head that you have. And so you could have a head that's completely stripped, but it'll grab it. It's kind of like a pipe wrench.
Right. There's one in my tool bag right now.
Well, so those work, huh?
They're 50-50.
What is that? So what's the problem with those?
The problem with those is the way they lock together and grab.
Okay.
So if it is a fairly simple to remove bolt, they will work beautifully.
Okay.
If it's something that's going to cause you to use a few words your grandmother's not going to appreciate, it's really not going to do a thing.
Okay.
It really does not, that bolt's been in there for 75 years.
Yeah.
No, it hadn't.
It's not bringing that one out.
That bolt ain't going nowhere. You're going to be fighting that baby with a different tool.
Okay.
Now, some of the extractors worked really well. And that was a big thing 20 years ago.
Are you talking about the ones where you have like a strip?
Yeah, pre-drill.
screw
You
head
put
or
drill a little hole in the center of it, and then you put the extractor in it, and it'll actually pop it out. Those work pretty good. The little thing with all the little pins in it, it's about a 50-50. It does. Now, if you've got good, clean access and you got a good, clean, straight angle on it, it works all right. But if you're kind of wiggling around, you ain't going to get it.
Well, that's the problem because the head itself is so big. And so it probably is selective application. I'm still tempted to get one because the price isn't bad.
So long as you understand that it's for quick and easy stuff. So like, I used one putting together. I had a job a while back where we were building chairs, office chairs, and we had like 100 of these things to do. And because the bolts were easy and flat and quick to get to, but there were two different sizes on the bottom of these chairs, man, that thing worked great. It was bow, 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 bow. Now, would I use it on something a little more complicated? Probably not. But for that job, it was fabulous.
All right, well, then I'll probably get one. So, hey, Max, you had one. I don't know if you realize that this is as seen on TV.
Well, now I do.
Well, you've got two things, actually, but the one that was a success was your special light, right?
Oh, the tactical flashlight.
Yeah. That's ultra bright. We've seen these. I've seen them pop up on YouTube or on Facebook. You get it's the ultra. It lights up an entire yard or
2,300 lumens.
All right. What's your report on that? Because
so far it's been a success. It's got a good recharge to it because it's not like I'm a battery replacement. It's you have this little port at the back of it where it's like rechargeable and everything. So far I've had great success with it. The only problem is the caveat is it heats up a little bit, but that's just because by virtue of the power it contains.
I mean, it's a bright light, and it's a good for self-defense. If you have an attacker, and it makes like a strobe light, and if people can't see, they can't attack. So, and what was your big failure that you got?
This was the failure that I didn't thought would be a failure, and that's my portable tire inflator.
What is that? Describe it. So
well, it looks essentially like, it's like a tire pump and everything, but it has options to where you could either use it battery powered or plug it up into the cigarette lighter. And you can put in the amount of PSIs that you want your tire to inflate to. And I thought it was pretty good. But then all of a sudden, I plugged it in one day to one of my tires. And rather than making like the rumble that I'm used to, it starts making a
yeah.
That's a pump motor biting the dust.
Yeah. But the thing
it's a pretty
is, like,
small pump motor.
The thing is, though, when I pull the trigger, when it's not on the tire, when it's not sealed, it sounds perfectly fine. It's just when you get the seal on it, it's
because there's no resistance.
There's no
Max.
resistance.
Yeah, but because what you're taking is an air compressor and shrinking it, because it looks like a drill. It looks like a drill with a little hose coming out of it.
Well, 20 years ago, they used to package those with the vacuum cleaner on one side and the tool pump on the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, you could plug it into the cigarette lighter of your car, and it came with lights and flashes. And now a number of tool brands are making their own very specific one.
Yeah. Well, we'll be sprinkling in some more throughout the show today, but it's time to move on. When we come back on Tool Talk Radio, it's 5 years of single-ply toilet paper, a retrospective.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Hi there. Is there a project you're working on? I know more than you. All right.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Well, you don't have to be a jerk about it, Ron Swanson. I mean, the guy, what an attitude. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. We also invite you to scoot on over to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and check out the posts we've made over there. And we would love to hear from you, too, if you want to chime in on National New Jersey Day. If you're a New Jersey listener that's still got your radio on and hasn't been offended by Max over there, we'd love to hear from you. And also, today is Bagpipe Appreciation Day. I think you said somebody wanted to weigh in on that, right, Max? So.
Our buddy Angel said their favorite version is the version of Amazing Grace with bagpipes.
Okay, very classy. Yeah, that's going to sound great in a church or out in the field or something. So, well, Max, why don't you tell us one of your, because I have a couple songs in mind, but
I like the version John Parham's You're the Voice. The bagpipes the bagpipe scene there is pretty epic.
if you watch that movie Hot Rod, where they with that scene, it is pretty awesome, and they even include bagpipers in there.
And because it's pretty short, why don't I just give my other one? It's Under the Milky Way by the Church.
Oh, I forgot about that. They have bagpipes. Okay, well, that's what we're talking about. Usually bagpipes are more of a seasoning in a song. You don't have them going the whole time. They just sort of throw them in at the right moment. So.
Same thing with like violins and rock and roll music.
Exactly. So, well, we have something interesting to get to in just a second. Before we get to any of that, though, I want to talk about our good buddy Larry Brown with Brown Refrigeration. You know, the more I experience life here in the Mid-South, the more humidity plays a role in my life, Alan. It's like
it does.
I just, I got into my car the other day and my windows were just covered in, it's that it just rains. It's cold in there. It starts to, you just really are aware of the moisture content in the air here. It's good. It makes the plants grow, but boy, it has to be managed. And so thank goodness we have Brown Refrigeration. They are the top, they are the company you need to call for all of your HVAC needs. HVAC company is a relationship. This is exactly like when you find a good mechanic for your car, because your car requires regular maintenance, and so does your HVAC system. Although the HVAC system is much less less maintenance. We're really talking about preventative maintenance and keeping it clean and doing, regular inspections. Also, it's a great idea to keep your air ducts clean as well. And that's why you should have Brown Refrigeration out for a visit at least once a year. The visit pays for itself. And you have the peace of mind in knowing that your HVAC system is running at top efficiency. Also, if you need a system, they work with Trane. That is their exclusive provider, because Trane is the state of the art. And they're always, Larry, one of the other great things about Brown Refrigeration is they're always ahead of the curve. They're always aware of the latest trends in HVAC, like the fact that starting in 2025, we have a new refrigerant that's coming out. If you've got questions about that, you definitely want to get in touch with them about that, because the HVAC game is about to change with this new refrigerant that they're instituting. We also love the Remy Halo system, which uses the UV power of the sun to create cleaning particulates in your air ducts that clean every surface they hit. We love Brown Refrigeration. They are a rock-solid company with a great business culture, and they answer their phones. So get in touch with them directly. And Allan knows this well because he's on the phone with them at least once a week, sending them out on projects. Get in touch with them at 901-362-1881 or go to their website, brownref.com. All right, Max, hit it, man. I think that's appropriate.
Oh.
Well, I was particularly proud of this title, Allan, I've already said it twice, and I'm going to say it again. I want to discuss, this is called 5 Years of Single-Ply Toilet Paper, a retrospective. If you've listened to Tool Talk Radio for all those years, which you can, because, Allan, we've got years of content on the website and everything.
ToolTalkRadio.com.
You would know I'm always singing the praises of single-ply toilet paper. Now, I've heard the argument. Some people are like, well, I don't like single-ply. It's too thin, or it's scratchy, or so, which I think is bogus. I don't think it is any different. But I had, when the kids were growing up and everybody's at home, we didn't use single-ply toilet paper. And I would say at least once a year or maybe twice a year, we had a mainline drain clog. And folks, if you know what that's like, that is not fun. That's where you have literally sewage and things coming into your bathtub and everything else. It's because that main line that goes out to the street is blocked up. For years, I thought we had a tree root problem, Allan. The problem was there wasn't really a tree near our pipe, so I couldn't explain it. I thought maybe a bush had grown through. And then one day, I had a technician out there, because I usually would unclog it myself, but we had a particularly difficult clog, so I had to call the professional. And he goes, have you ever thought of changing over to single-ply toilet paper? And I said, talk to me. And he explained it, the difference. It's a huge difference because it breaks down quickly. Ever since that day, I wish I remember the guy's name, but ever since that day, we switched over as a household. And, Allan, we have not, I think it's been over 5 years, haven't had one mainline drain clog. So I stand behind this 100%. I don't know. What is the argument against single-ply? I don't really get it. Because
Well, it's a matter of, and you said it, when all the kids were home. Let's start with it's a matter of volume.
And teenagers
It's
that eat a lot.
it's grease, human hair, stuff that shouldn't be flushed, and the things that are of your fluffier. Of as we see the animated bears.
Yeah.
The fluffier toilet papers are just that. They're fluffier. They're a larger volume. And you're basically going to use about the same length of toilet paper out of habit. So
Right.
the bigger and fluffier it is, the actual higher the volume is going to be. The other problem is, are you getting a sufficient amount of water to clear your drain all the way into the main drain at the, quote, county, the council, whoever?
Now, that's a good point, Alan, because at the exact moment that I'm raising, that we're all raising kids and everything, we have those low flow toilets coming in. Like because we replaced every toilet in our home.
Yes.
And instead of, because our home was built in the 50s. So instead of flushing like 50 gallons to whatever they did, and then now we're flushing like a quart of water to, or it feels like it.
Well, and welcome to our modern world where there's a nice balance. But I'll pick on Max because I think you had a cooking debacle once upon a time in which your frugal ways equaled a backed up sink for you.
Yes.
There is, you sent a certain amount of material down through the disposal or down the sink, and then there needs to be a sufficient volume of water to keep that moving.
Right.
Because people, all right, if you want to fall down a terrible rabbit hole on YouTube, look up cleaning out drains.
Yeah, and don't eat your lunch while you're doing it.
It's a terrible rabbit hole. You'll be up till 2:00 in the morning watching this nonsense.
Yeah.
But the sheer volume of water that comes tearing out of your house the moment the block is released. People don't really don't understand how much water your house can actually hold.
Yeah. Did you have something?
Oh, no, I didn't have anything else.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Well, yeah, those main lines, they're big.
when
and they
you're
snake through
talking
there.
a 4-inch pipe around, I mean, it's gallons and gallons and gallons of water that might be backed up in
And you
there.
might have water backed up in your bathtub.
Now,
that's like, yeah.
You get two different kinds of clogs here. You have your biologically removable clogs, like you flush too much rice down the drain and it swells up. And trust me, that is very common.
Yeah, don't pour pasta or rice.
Pasta, rice, oatmeal, that stuff that will continue to swell in water will continue to swell in water. But then you begin adding in like rice, fat, toilet paper. Now you have the most dangerous kind of clog known to mankind, known as the soft clog.
Yeah, because those you feel like
But you can penetrate them with the auger.
But it doesn't push anything. It just goes right through.
It pushes right
comes
through
out.
it because that's a soft clog. And when you pull it back out, it closes back up and you're still clogged. And they can be a real difficult clog to deal with.
That reminds me of like a hydra. You cut off one head and everything doesn't grow back.
So you end up having to build up a little water behind it. And then you have to put the spinny blades on it so that basically you just puree this as you finally get through it and get it to go through. But there's so much water. So you got to consider how much water you're sending down the line versus the volume of what you're sending down the line. Because I remember one year making pumpkin pies. I was cleaning pumpkins and doing the thing and putting in the waste down the disposal, and then my sink was all kinds of blocked up. Because I didn't put enough water behind what was being ground up, and then I spent a good hour of my life cleaning pumpkin shards out of my drain.
Now,
because
Alan,
I shouldn't have done that.
I'm sure there's people listening right now that are going, you're going to have to pry that, thicker, more absorbent toilet paper out of my cold, dead hands. I'm using it. I don't care about your stupid single-ply toilet paper.
Well,
for those listeners, what advice do you have? Because I'm telling you, man.
Give it a courtesy flush.
Okay. double flush. So.
To throw a little extra volume behind it so you can keep things moving. I mean, the trick is today, none of us want to waste water.
Right.
So you don't want to just run water for an hour down the sink to make sure it's clean. But I am a huge fan of enzyme cleaners.
Well, I was about to ask you, what's the preventative measures we can be doing here?
You can go to any big box store now, and there's a variety of brands, but they are basically digestive enzymes. They're a probiotic for your pipes.
So they're cleaning them out while you're sleeping 24 hours
You
a day?
drop one of these little sticks into every sink you got in the house. So over the next few weeks, every time you brush your teeth or you use the sink, it washes a little more enzyme down the line. And as these enzymes get there, they're working on the fats and the solids that they find. And this stuff is broken down, kind of like a septic system, and moves on down the line. So I am a huge fan of those right now.
Yeah, because sometimes it's like out of sight, out of mind. You're not thinking about what's going on right under your feet. But yeah, you should keep those main lines
And it is
clean.
alive and well down there. Trust me. You may not like it, but, and I want to point out, you got that weird pipe that goes through the middle of your house and sticks out of your roof.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's letting the gases out of the system so your house doesn't blow up.
Exactly. So, all right. Well, there we go. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio. When we come back, we're going to find out what Allan did this week.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Good news, everyone! Someone's home is on fire!
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
You mentioned exploding gases.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it's good to enjoy your work, but come on, Professor. And we'll come back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning. Here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. I would love to hear from somebody if you've listened to Tool Talk and maybe you took our advice, or at least my advice, and changed over from the thicker toilet paper over to single ply. I would love to know how many of you are out there and if you had similar experiences that I had. Like I said, if you're just tuning in, I've gone 5 years without a toilet or with a mainline drain clog in our home, and I attribute that to switching over as a family to single ply toilet paper.
Or we'd like to hear if you didn't initially heat our if the fry at first.
Max likes hearing about disaster and tragedy. Yeah, if you've had problems with your main line and it clogs up, and it's never a pleasant thing, especially depending on how your house is laid out. You could have, sewage coming out of your bathtub.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody wants that.
No.
So let us know about that. And also check out the posts we've made over on the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. All right. Well, I'm looking at Allan now.
Oh, the humanity.
That could only mean that it's Allan's Week in Review, which is always fun because you never know what he's going to do from week to week. So it's always fresh. Well, what did you do this week?
Well, this week's theme, I always love how they catch a theme. It's very strange. This week's theme was, if you don't like it, you can't have any.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what I mean
That's
by
very
that.
funny. As a Cubs fan, I sort of appreciate that.
Yeah,
But go
if you
ahead.
don't like it, you can't have any.
Which is a weird psychology, but,
Well, but here's
true.
what people do. And I mean people by anybody. Your front yard, businesses especially do this nonsense. All right, well, you talked about last week about a wandering path.
Oh, yeah,
So
in our backyard.
I'm actually blaming my week on you because you
Okay.
set the theme and my advice to you was, think this thing through 10 times before you do it. So you actually build it where you want it, how you want it, where you're going to use it.
Yeah, you were actually saying spray paint on
Yes.
on the grass the exact path and
Oh,
make
my
sure
gosh.
you like it. Yeah. So.
The number, and for some strange reason this week, as I was visiting facilities, the inability to handle landscaping has been paramount this week. And here's what I mean. Too much. Really, you can't take care of that much. Why did you build it that big?
Right.
You can't put enough flowers in it to make it look good. Now it just looks like little homeless flowers 3 feet apart from each other over this massive area. And it's just sad.
So you have a mulch bed that's 50 feet deep when
This
it should
thing
be
is
about
20
5
feet
deep.
wide. This thing's 40 feet long. And of course, the client, I just love it when they look me in the eyes seriously and they go, but we spent $5,000 on this.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. You should have spent $500 and just mowed it.
Right.
And I actually did that to a client. I mean, I really upset him. And here's one of those horrible tricks. If you've ever tried to move monkey grass, Leotrope, it's impossible. You can't dig it up. You can't get the shovel under it. The stuff grips the soil like Godzilla not wanting to take a bath. I mean, this stuff is just miserable. So what I do is I take the 12-inch pruning blade, put it on my Sawzall, and go down either side of the row of Leotrope, monkey grass, grab it, yank it straight out in a block, move it to where I want it, cut a block out, put a block in. You've transplanted the monkey grass.
Oh, that's a quick tip there, folks.
Man, you talk about making a miserable landscaping effort quick and easy. And then you backfill it with dirt or mulch or whatever, and now you can just cut this. So I literally cut this massive landscape down to a fifth of its original size. Just gave it back to the yard.
Yeah.
It's because this looks terrible. You can't put enough in it. And I'm going to point this out for anybody who in the middle of summer, just as we get into fall, we're getting into real entertaining in the backyard season because it's just about to be grilling season.
See, it's funny here. Grilling season to me is like when it starts cooling off a little bit.
Exactly.
Like the fall.
August is a week.
Right.
We're rolling in. September's going to be here in 4 weeks. So if you're thinking about doing something in the backyard, rearranging it, landscaping it, think this through carefully. Do not put stuff where everybody walks, please.
Right.
And that goes to any member of my family older than me. Would you please stop putting stuff where I walk? It's so, and I mean, I know it's cute, and I know you saw it on HGTV, but you now built a water feature where the dog normally runs.
Right.
Guess what the dog is going to do? It's going to run through your water feature. It's not going to change its habits. So be careful.
Here's what I'm picturing, Alan. So it's like, I think what happens is and we do this in the home as well, but you get something and you don't really realize, okay, you might look at it and you go, oh, well, I have flowers there. I have to do this one thing to maintain those, whatever it is, water. Well, you probably have about 8 things you have to do.
Exactly.
And then you start snowballing that with all the other things. So sometimes we just underestimate what that actually looks like to maintain something, right? Especially when you're talking about landscaping out here. We have, everything's working against you. You have the weather. It's going to grow.
Right. Yeah, it's going to grow. And, I got a very dear friend that is absolutely terrorized by bugs. Don't plant something that attracts bugs.
Yeah, what kind of bugs are attracted? That's another good point.
If you're going to put a big old butterfly bush out there, you're going to have stuff buzzing all over the yard. Don't do that.
Right.
You're going to put, and I see this all over town, the weedy thing out by the mailbox. You see them everywhere as you drive up and down the city because everybody saw it was really cute in some movie. They had all these flowers growing around the mailbox. Do you know how much work it takes to keep the weeds out of that?
Oh,
give up, mow it. Take a weed eater to it. Give up. Do not. And my biggest advice here is stop doing things to frustrate yourself later.
It's funny you say that because I was literally driving by a mailbox this week and I thought, I bet you this looked cool for about the first 6 weeks it was in. It was like this decorative wrought iron. It had all this stuff to it, and now it's just a rust pile because it's got all these little pockets that hold water and break the weld and all this other stuff. Yeah, and I'm like, so maybe they didn't think about what that's actually going to look like once it's out in the weather.
You and I crack up over non-galvanized screws and nails and fences.
Yeah, you get the tears
because then you get the black tear down the thing. So my advice for the week is Think about what you're doing and what it's going to take to maintain this so you will actually enjoy it. And another piece of advice I'm going to point out for family dynamics. I'm about to solve a lot of family problems. The rest of your family don't care. They're not going to help. They're not going to aid and abet, and they don't like it.
Right.
Whatever it is you just did that you can't, I can't get my kids to do anything with me. They ain't gonna.
Right.
Stop it. They're not gonna do it. Stop. This is your mental malfunction. If you can't take care of it, don't do it.
And have honest communication about it, too. Don't
Oh,
just
my
go, isn't this
gosh.
a poinsettia the most beautiful thing in the world?
No.
Mom, I don't really care. As long as you like it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But if you can take care of it and it's your gig, do it for you. Enjoy it. Please. But if the rest of the family is looking at you like you got two heads,
Yeah.
please understand you're on your own.
I like getting rid of stuff, too, though. Sometimes just purging and simplifying is the way to go. Instead of having 50 things you like, have 4 things that you like. And take really
instead
good
of
care
50
them.
things that are now aggravating you,
Right.
cut it back to the 4 you actually enjoyed.
There you go. That's timeless advice. Now that works. That works inside the home and outside. So, all right. Well, more good stuff is on the way. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989, and there's a very diverse array of topics out on the table. Also, we want to let you know that you can feel free to weigh in if you're from New Jersey, because today is National New Jersey Day. It's not international, though. They haven't ranked that high yet, Allan. But also today is Bagpipe Appreciation Day, which is really, that's more in our wheelhouse here. I mean, that's your people back then, Allan, right? Well, they didn't create the bagpipe, as Max told us.
It was the Hittites.
The Hittites, and they probably used like the goat, stomach of a goat or something like that. And,
Some degree of bladder.
and hollowed out bones of their enemy or something, right? I mean, it was more it's more sinister back then. But,
Good on the Hittites, though.
Okay.
Yeah, be careful. I'll tell you how soccer got invented. So.
Exactly. But Max, you said we got somebody on the line that wants to, because if you're just tuning in, Allan was telling us basically, if you don't like it, you can't have it, and that's your landscaping principle, right?
Oh my gosh.
Or if you're not going to take care of it,
Well,
don't have it.
Yeah, it's the old thing of like, God, we want a pool, we want a pool, we want a pool. And then you find out pools are really expensive. You're going to have a contract with a pool company. You got to open the pool, close the pool. You can't drain it past a certain point. You got to keep it up. You got
it's like having another kid.
So many people, oh my gosh, they love the pool for that first 2 years, and after that, they hate it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what did they have to say, Max? Somebody chimed in.
Well, our good old buddy Michael Boomerang
Nice.
asked, what is a hardy perennial plant that will keep mosquitoes away?
Is there such a plant, Allan? Because I'm going to get about 80 of those in my backyard.
A fleet of them.
Yeah.
All right, my favorite one to answer that with would be rosemary.
And rosemary smells great.
Rosemary smells great, tastes great. It is an evergreen, and you can grow it up to like a shrub. They will get pretty fair sized, and they will overwinter in our climate.
Wait, what does a rosemary bush look like? I really don't even know. So, how big are we talking, Allan? How tall? How wide?
You can get them up to like a hedge.
So what? 4 feet tall?
Yeah,
or
you
so?
get them 2 or 3 feet tall. Yeah, I mean they're pretty decent size when you get them growing.
Gosh, that would smell great too.
Oh yeah, smells good, looks good. You'd have an edible landscape. So in the hardy hardwood kind of version, that's going to be it. In stuff you just may want to have around the backyard just for fun, basil, lemongrass, sage, all of your mints, any of the mints, your catnips, your peppermints, and that kind of stuff, all have oils that are aggravating to mosquitoes and biting flies and that kind of stuff.
What's the blast radius? If you get 3 bushes there, how far will the mosquitoes stay away?
All right, nothing prevents mosquitoes.
Okay.
It's just whether or not mosquitoes want to hang out in it. It doesn't mean they're not hanging out under the boards in your fence, in the tall grass, over in the tree. But certain plants are less likely to have mosquito concentration hiding in them. Marigolds.
Yeah.
Good old-fashioned marigolds are one that, mosquitoes generally aren't too fond of, that you're more than likely going to have around your yard.
Okay.
I like nasturtiums myself. I like the flowers on them. They're a little bit nasturtiums. They're a little bit invasive, but if you got them in a bed, they look pretty good. Eucalyptus, I don't think really grows all that well here, but there might be varieties that do, and that's another really good smelling plant.
I was about to say, I bet that smells
good.
That
smells good, and if you got a eucalyptus that grows in the area, that would, again, they keep down the mosquito idea. Mosquitoes don't find these plants pleasant.
It's funny. It's ironic that you say that because every plant you're describing, I'm like, oh, wow, that would smell great. Oh, that would be a great plant.
Well,
and yet these sinister creatures can't stand them. So it just
they're
shows,
very, that's the whole point. These are very olfactory effervescent plants. As the wind blows through them, like if you've got a bed of basil and a light breeze blowing, your whole backyard smells like basil.
Yeah.
You walk by your rosemaries and just kind of run your fingertips across it, your fingertips immediately smell like rosemary. So, these are plants that are kind of oily, produce a lot of scent, and that's why the mosquitoes don't hang out in them.
Not to beat this into the ground, but you're making me think, is it because when you're saying all this, I'm thinking of like a pilot up in the sky, and there's something that's jamming his radar system or something. Is this like messing with their ability to find food or find blood or something? I mean, I don't know.
Because they're so sensitive to like the air gas concentration around them, because they find humans by our warmth and mostly by our breath, by the CO2 in our breath.
That's interesting.
So, every time you breathe, you're attracting a mosquito.
Is that why they fly in your nose and everything?
Yeah, that's why they're always in your face.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's why the mosquito traps that use propane are actually CO2 traps. They're producing a CO2 at the level of like you or your dog breathing, and that's what brings the mosquitoes into the mosquito trap. So by producing other oils and smells, they aggravate the mosquitoes because they're so sensitive to, what's in the air around them.
Okay, well, Michael, there you go. Get yourself some rosemary bushes.
Man, I'd get you some rosemary. That's always a good smelling.
You got your seasoning all set to go.
Oh yeah.
So, all right, we're gonna change gears. So we don't really have any bumper music for this, but I've got a tale to tell you, Alan, and it's just it's funny. This is very true in my life. It's like, when you're raising kids, you have priorities, and it's always about money. Like, okay, well, I would love to do all these other things, but this is the priority right now is getting these kids through college or getting this, whatever. Well, it's funny how you do one simple thing, and it becomes, like you said, an avalanche. It's that one snowflake too many, and it triggers all these other decisions. Well, I went to the DMV the other day. And because I needed to get some information. Apparently, folks, this is just a little public service. I flew to visit my daughter a couple months ago in Albuquerque, and the TSA guy goes, just so you know, starting in 2025, you have to have this gold star thing on your driver's license or you can't fly. I said, I didn't know that. It's like whatever. So you got to get a gold star license. So I went in to go find out how to do that. Well, Alan, about 4 doors down from that is this really interesting discount furniture store.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, I'm over here. I'm going to go check this out. So anyway, the long and short of it is I found it's a brand new, it's a like new couch. Let's just call it that. This would be, I'm never going to order a couch over the internet because I want to sit on it and try it out and everything.
Right. Okay.
This is sort of a faux leathery couch. This one, I've seen comparable couches that are probably $2,000. I got this baby it was on sale for $600.
Okay.
I'm not going to pass up a deal like that. And it looked good. It was super comfortable. My wife, the problem is now that chair that's going to go next to the couch is kind of ugly. And we've always hated these curtains.
Yep.
And the rug needs
Yep.
And now the coffee table's too big and the whole thing. So we basically, within the course of 2 hours, are already in the mode of redecorating our entire living room. And it's just funny how that works, where you could live with something for years, really decades. We've had this couch, our current couch, for 20 years. I don't know. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, but you reach a tipping point.
But it's exciting and it's fun. And I'm just wondering, though, I think a lot of it has to do with money, though. Like, if you have a little in the budget and you can do it, you just want to, pull the trigger and do it. But have you ever experienced anything like that? Because now we're repainting, we're doing everything. The entire living room's getting an upgrade, and it's exciting.
I usually call that affectionately scope creep.
Talk to me.
Scope creep is generally when you're on a job and here comes your client and they go, while you're here, now that you've painted that wall,
right,
this other side of the building looks bad. Okay, well, let's get you another bid and we'll start on that wall. One thing tips another, and in your house, you wind up with kind of an ergonomic thing. So that because you changed out the couch and it may be 1 inch different in size than the other one.
Right.
But your mind sees that.
Yeah.
Your spatial relations is going, yeah, well, that's there. But now, what about this? This is also 30 years old and beat up and worn down. But you become, I'm going to call it house blind.
That's a good point. Yeah, because sometimes you'll go into somebody's house and you're like, why do they have that there? I don't know. It's just always been there.
It
doesn't have to be.
Legacy. Legacy. It's always been there. But then you make that one little change, and now suddenly, wow, I had forgotten how sun bleached those drapes have gotten over the last 10 years.
Right.
Because, I put something fresh next to it, and those drapes used to be really brightly colored. Now they're kind of pastel.
Yeah.
It's time to, maybe it's time to fluff them up and change. The other thing that happens to you is your taste change every 10 years.
Oh, yeah. You've talked about that. Well, and let's face it, styles change.
Yeah, you're in a different phase of life, and there are different colors, different shapes, different sizes, and there may even be a whole new genre of furniture available that was never available before.
That's a good point. And you have more options. You can look all over the internet. I mean, there are some things I will buy over the internet, like our blinds and things like that. But you said something too. I was just going to say my wife was channeling exactly what you were talking about earlier, because basically what we're doing is we're just getting things out of the living room. Our new philosophy is we would rather have 3 statement pieces. Like one of the things, we want a really cool coffee table. We want a really cool piece of art. And we are going to paint the fireplace wraparound by the mantle jet black, just for kicks. So we're doing three areas, and we're not getting crazy, because I think if you have 10 statement pieces, then it's not a statement anymore. Then it's like a zoo. But anyway, but a lot of what's happening in the living room now, Alan, is just getting stuff out of there, and kind of like what you said,
less is more sometimes.
Purging. So anyway, we'll keep you posted. We're going to take pictures this time, so we'll keep you posted on the living room redecorating. But this is going to be good, Alan. When we come back, it's in our Great Moments in Building History. We're going to talk about a very small building that had a huge impact, the world's first McDonald's.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Gonna paint our wagon, gonna paint it good. We ain't bragging, we're gonna coat that wood.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
We'll see if they're still singing 8 hours later after all that painting. Anyway, but they got the right attitude. I'll give them that.
They'll sing. It'll just be a lament.
Well, maybe. Welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com. and our pal Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And also remember, if you do text in, you can send pictures, which is a good day to do that because today is National New Jersey Day, and today is also Bagpipe Appreciation Day. Maybe you've got maybe you're a bagpipe enthusiast and you want to send us a picture of your bagpipes
from
I'd
New
love
Jersey.
To see them. Yeah, now that would be the double.
Agent 732, I wouldn't put it past them.
Exactly. Bagpipes, I do love bagpipes, and I'm not being sarcastic. So I would love bagpipes played at my funeral.
And my message, my call to arms still stands for the listeners out there. Please text in your favorite use of bagpipes in song.
Right. Yeah, we want to hear that too, for sure. So, yeah, there's a lot on the table. And also, hey, if you've converted from regular thick toilet paper to thin single-ply toilet paper like I have and are excited about the results, let us know, because ever since we made that conversion, we have not had one clog in our main line drain, and we're going on 5 years of that. So, pretty exciting stuff. But, all right, well, let's change gears, you guys.
And now, great moments in building history.
Well, Max, as a culinary, I'm not calling you a snob, Allan. You are an enthusiast. You're very enthusiastic about culinary, your culinary tastes and your cooking and everything. But so I didn't know how you'd feel about discussing a fast food place. But I think this is, and you jumped on board actually. But
you chose my favorite one.
Well, we have to be very specific because I'm calling this the world's first McDonald's. This is not technically true. They had a little restaurant, the McDonald brothers, right. Mac and Dick. What is his name? Maurice and Richard.
Mm-hmm.
But they were casual guys, so that was their nickname. But they had a little place and it wasn't really doing it for them. But they closed up shop, and then they opened they custom designed this building themselves. It was it was a walk-up place. It was not sit-down dining. You walked up.
It was drive-in.
You drove in, or you could walk up to the window. Mm-hmm. This was 1948. This is post-World War II.
This was 1940.
Well, I'm talking about the actual opening of this particular restaurant. Because,
you're talking about the launch restaurant.
This is the launch. This is where they introduced the Speedy system, and this is where they stripped down the menu and everything. But it's literally $1 trillion industry, the fast food industry. I mean, multi-trillion, right? I mean, it's everywhere in the world now. Well, and it started in this little place.
Well, they join the pantheon of people that had a tiny little anti-legacy idea that made our modern world.
There you go. They were not legacy thinkers.
They were. They were originally. So here's poor Mac and Richard. And in 1940, they opened a drive-in because cars were now a thing. Mm-hmm. And I know that sounds so goofy in 2024, but in 1940...
No, that was still a newer...
A car was...
Yeah.
I mean, this was a whole new, shocking culture.
Yeah.
And so then, they got open, and then there was like this whole World War II thing, so they were kind of in and out. And then about 1948, everybody's coming home. The car culture thing is in. So they open the true first, the one where all the changes happen, the first true McDonald's.
Right.
And, all right, these two were good at debating each other. One of them always took the side of move faster, let's go, let's serve the customer. And the other one, and they kind of swapped back and forth on occasion, was more analytical in the debate.
Mm.
So it was
they balance each other out, it sounds.
Well, it'd be like me and you discussing a job. You're going to look at it from the what is it going to take to get this job done?
Point of it,
what's it going to take to get this job done? And I'm going to look at it from the point of view of, okay, where are we going to source all the stuff?
And how do we not get sued because we got a state regulation?
Right. And how do we make... So you got exactly how these two guys worked. And they got open, and the first thing they noticed was the kitchen was a cluster. Because like every other restaurant in the world, but like every other restaurant in the world, they were offering dining. Mm. There was a lot of food choices out there. And I couple
That's
this,
a good point. The menu is pretty big, so you have more space that you need
and
more
and I
ingredients.
immediately leaned towards Harlan Sanders, who was doing the exact same thing. Too many
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Exactly. Well,
Okay.
back then it was just old Harlan, and they just, everybody had the family style restaurant. They were just trying to put it in a car.
Right.
So after watching this go on, they went, wow, we got a lot of employees, we're spending a lot of money, and we're busy. We're busy, but we're not, I don't think we're effective busy.
Right.
And that's where these two really jump in and stand out, because they would sit there and watch their business.
Yeah. They
And
observe.
then they came to realize that basically they made all their money and most of their sales on 3 items.
Mm-hmm.
Burgers, fries, and shakes.
Right. Yeah, because they had, like you said, they had about 50 items on their their first restaurant. They had about 50 items. They're like, we're going to strip this down to what, like 9 items or something.
But they're looking at each other, and they even made this suggestion, and it is in historical fact that they even doubted their own decision. Because nobody had done
Everybody
this.
always does, because if you're doing something new, you
Right.
always question.
All right. But then they did something that I respect beyond human measure. They went and got a box of decorator chalk and went out to a playground
Oh, yeah.
and literally drew out the kitchen because they were watching everybody in the kitchen run over each other trying to get stuff done.
Right.
And they went, okay, we got to rearrange this because it's not working for me. This is just not working. And they tried it again and again and again in fake to where, and it was funny because they were
It's like
sitting
a
there.
Tetris game. Like
Well,
you
they were
said.
sitting there timing each other. Okay, you're cooking the burger. You're flipping the burger. Now you're checking the fries. Now you're doing the, and they came up with kind of the assembly line kitchen,
Yeah, that's true.
which more or less modeled high-end kitchens in Europe.
Now, I didn't know that. I thought they got their inspiration from like Henry Ford, the assembly
From
line.
the assembly line.
But I didn't know European kitchens.
Because you
function
have
that way.
well, if you think, did you ever see Ratatouille? How
Yeah,
the
your
kitchen
favorite
was laid
movie,
out?
yeah.
It is my favorite movie of all
Okay.
time. However, the head chef could see everybody, and everybody had a station.
Right.
Well, that was a very different idea over here. But now suddenly they were like Henry Ford's assembly line. Okay, if I'm cooking the burgers, the guy next to me needs to be getting the buns ready. And the person next to them needs to be dropping the fries.
Right.
And these people need to be working their stations like rich restaurants in Europe. So they
Right.
were combining some radical ideas. And the scary part is it really, really worked.
Well, the one thing I want to say about the McDonald brothers that I do respect is, and there's a great movie, folks. Like we said, we're not going to get into all the intrigue on this, but
Right.
if you want to watch The Founder with Michael Keaton, it's a really, really interesting movie. But what I noticed about them, they were sticklers for quality. This is not, they weren't saying, let's make hamburgers, stick them under a heat lamp, and then an hour later, these were literally, if you bought a hamburger back then, it was probably on the grill no more than 2 minutes before you get it in your, get it in the bag and it's yours. So everything was fresh, and they really wanted good quality food. They just minimized the menu, and they just made the process faster. So I respected that a lot, and it's the speedy system, they called it.
Yeah,
So,
and the takeaway lesson for this is your modern kitchen in your modern home.
that's what I wondered, because we always talk about ergonomics and feng shui. Why would you have your spice drawer or your spice cabinet all the way across the kitchen away from your stove or something like that? So you want to lay it out correctly.
Well, you're getting into my favorite topic, and that is, how do you cook? And this is why so many people later in life invest so much money in amazing kitchens, because they've suffered in a kitchen that didn't fit their style long enough. And that really harkens back to Mac and Richard standing there going, how do we make this easier?
Yeah, it's true though, because they not only change the restaurant world, they change really probably the way a lot of us think about the layout of our kitchen. So there's a lot of cool ramifications, and we're going to talk about that when we come back here on Tool Talk Radio.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
'Tis but a scratch. A scratch? Your arm's off.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
That's going in the fryer.
Okay. Gosh, Max can turn a show dark in one flip of the switch. What a weirdo. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios, although they were kind of short on food back in those days, right, Allan? So, anyway, I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning. Here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and the weird Max behind the glass. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And it's a good day to do it. We have a lot on the table that we're not going to rehash. If you've been listening, you know what we're talking about today. And remember, if you do send a text in, you can also send pictures. So did you have something to contribute, Max?
Well, we have a texter something to contribute.
Okay.
They've been heeding my advice, fortunately. I was asking a call to arms for your favorite song with the use of bagpipes, since it's Bagpipe Appreciation Day, and our good buddy Vince said Long Way to the Top by AC/DC.
Oh, wait. Okay. I can't pretend I'm a big AC/DC fan. But,
I like that song. I know that song, yes.
It's just in there as an accent, though, right? So,
No, it's a background piece to it, yeah.
Okay. Well, those guys that's their part neck. Are they Scottish?
They're Australian.
Okay. No, they're not. Really? All right, shows how much I listen to them. So anyway, all right. Well, hey, all musical tastes are welcome here. So that sounds like a good one. If you've got any noteworthy bagpipes pieces that you want to share, just let us know. Like I said, at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline, 901-683-0989. Speaking of the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline, it's a perfect day to talk about our good buddy Jay Hill with Big M Roofing and Remodeling. I wonder if he's a bagpipe enthusiast. I feel like he would be. It seems like, that might be his new thing. When he shows up on a project and they're getting ready to, remove the roof and put a new one on, have the bagpipers lead the way as they're backing the dumpster up and everything.
I'd like to see a company where you have your in resident bagpiper.
I think that's what businesses need. We need a little more pomp and circumstance, because when you're redoing the outside of your home, it is a dramatic and exciting event. And why don't we put some ceremony behind it? Jay, that's your next $1 million idea right there.
There you go.
But Jay is all about the exterior protection of your home, from roofing to siding to gutters to windows. It's a top-down system, and we always especially lean heavily into his roofing expertise because Jay is a GAF Master Elite Installer. He's always 5 stars with the Better Business Bureau, and he's one of the top-rated roofers in the Mid-South, which is saying something, Allan. We have a lot of roofing choices out here, but Jay is right there at the top, and there's a good reason for that because Jay, for one thing, they install roofing systems. The GAF products are so well, they work together as a system, and they offer lifetime transferable warranties. And roofing technology, you talk about something that's evolved over the last few decades, especially with ridge cap vents and just making your roof run more energy efficiently and how they last, so much longer. But also the other thing that makes Jay stand out is the fact that he's a former insurance agent, and that's highly relevant because let's face it, it's the outside of your home is subjected to quite a bit here in the Mid-South, and there could be damage. You could have tree limbs that fall on your home. You could have storm damage. You could have problems that with your siding or your windows. And if it's covered by your homeowner's insurance, that is not an easy process to navigate. You need an advocate, and Jay is that advocate for you. He'll come out. It's a free consultation. He'll look over the situation, and by the end of the consultation, you'll know if you have a path forward. And if you do, that is going to save you a lot of money, and it's a very exciting prospect. I had my roof replaced, and so did you, Allan, in that exact same way, and it did. It saved us thousands of dollars, and now we have a roof that protects the home, and every time it rains, I just sit there and look up and go, bring it on. But Jay is also just a very dynamic personality. He brings a lot of energy and optimism to every project he's a part of. you will love working with Jay Hill. And he always encourages you to call him directly. You can reach him at 901-484-5645 or go to bigmroofingandremodeling.com. Well, we're going to continue our conversation. Our Great Moments in Building History is probably one of the smallest structures we've actually ever discussed. I mean, I dare say this thing's probably not even 1,000 square feet if you were to look at it, but it is the world's first McDonald's. We're making the distinction, the first hamburger restaurant,
Right.
because founded by the McDonald brothers, and we've all seen what that's grown into and how it inspired the rest of the fast food industry. But I mean, there was no such thing as quote unquote fast food before they came along, and I don't even know if they called it that back then. They called it the speedy system, but it was really more about what they created. Was putting out quality food quickly and efficiently, and it's just really interesting. It was very popular. I wanted to say one other thing, though, Alan. I thought that they made a point, because then they started to branch out a little bit, but I thought that one of the things that they did was they always found a property right near a gas station, because people are gassing up, or they're traveling, or they're coming. If you're going on a trip and you just need to get your lunch quickly or something, right? So, it was placed strategically.
You know, basically, we're for the McDonald brothers, we're talking about the 50s.
Right, yeah. Because that's when it came. I mean, we're saying 1948, but they really came into their heyday right about 1950.
1940 is when they started their first drive-in. Mm-hmm. So, small restaurant, and kind of keep in mind, you know, the sock hop days, the kids on roller skates delivering food. The whole car culture was just beginning. So this was, you know, just the fact that they had a drive-in first shows you that they were really trying to capitalize on the times.
Right, yeah.
But they did it with, you know, hey, we're going to open a restaurant, so that means you got to offer pot roast and taters, and we're going to do this and that and the other. And, oh, yeah, well, all the kids love this burger thing and these French fry things.
Well, you're saying something there that's making me think, too, Alan, because the system, the McDonald's that we're talking about, you walked up or you could, drive it. But the drive up you're talking about, like the ones that they were used to when they first opened, okay, well, you drove up, but what's going on in the kitchen is still the same as going on in any other kitchen. So it wasn't fast. And in fact, I remember growing up that the drive-in was a hangout. That's where you looked at everybody's cars and you talked to your friends and stuff. So they weren't in any rush, but the speedy system they introduced is what got. I mean, let's face it, that's where they make their money, getting as many customers as possible.
Instead of having to constantly move the pot of pot roast every time you needed to fry something, you know, what they did was, all right, now think about your modern kitchen at home. Yeah. If you think about it from the point of view of a restaurant, your modern kitchen is more or less laid out in stations.
Yeah.
You've got a refrigerator. That's a station because it's kind of got its own area. You have a stove and oven, or however that combination is set up in your home, with a vent over it.
Right.
All right, that's very restaurant.
Yeah.
You know, the days of having the big giant hearth and all of that stuff, those are all gone now. The other thing you got to remember, right after World War II, is a massive fast housing boom.
Oh, good point. The suburbs were starting to come into existence.
We got all these people coming home from these wars, and then suddenly we got all these babies. Mm-hmm. I mean, we got families cropping up everywhere. So now we got cars, and now people don't have to live in the building.
Right.
We can now move Joe and his family, you know, a couple of miles outside of the main city, and you could have a little house. But what do you do? Because we're used to building apartments and condos and townhouses. Well, kind of this idea of the workstation kitchen, the galley kitchen, began showing up in houses.
Right.
So I'm not going to say the McDonald's directly had anything to do with this, but the people building the houses had early jobs, and early jobs for almost every teenager on the planet is,
working at a restaurant.
Working in food.
I did.
So you took these ideas and you carried them forward, and the manufacturers made a stove like you would make one for a restaurant. It was the doors, the oven, the burners, all compact in a single station. Then you had your sink station. And this made the house easier to build because we had to put in less pipes.
I was thinking of something.
Huge impact.
It's funny because I see a theme emerging on today's show, Alan, because you talked in your weekend review, it was the purge, just get rid of stuff.
Yeah.
We're getting rid of stuff in our living room. And I think the lesson here, the McDonald brothers, they got rid of stuff. They purged and they streamlined. And I do see this because I'm in and out of a lot of homes still with my my contracting work. And I do talk to people about their kitchens as well. And sometimes you'll go into a home and there's every device. There's the coffee maker, there's the Keurig, there's the air fryer, there's the whatever, or some of the real specialized devices. And I'm like, oh, do you use that very often? No, maybe once a year when the company comes over. But there's a lot of times where some of these things are taking up countertop space, or they're all the way across the room, or they're not. It doesn't always look efficient. And I'm wondering if what happens is you go to the store and you just fall in love with a certain thing, but you don't really think about the practical ramifications. You have to put it somewhere, and how often are you actually going to use it and everything. And maybe it's time to streamline your kitchen a little bit,
Well, and the one thing a lot of people are running into, and you can't be afraid of change. Sometimes
I think change is exciting, honestly.
You go back to the Dead Poets Society, and sometimes you got to go stand on the couch and look at the house from a different point of view.
There you go.
Be careful, don't fall off, and don't say anybody I told you to do that.
One of my favorite movies.
Oh, Captain, my Captain.
Yes.
Exactly. So, all right. Well, lots to learn there, and it's a fun rabbit hole to go down. The world's first McDonald's. But we're going to move along. We have other things to discuss, and we're going to get to them when we come back here on Tool Talk Radio.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Brought to you by Flamethrowers Are Us Landscaping. Scientists have observed that when an erupting volcano completely eviscerates the plant life below, foliage eventually grows back, more lush than ever. This is the animating principle of our landscaping company. At Flamethrowers Are Us Landscaping, we guarantee that at some point after we are long gone, your yard is going to look fabulous. Flamethrowers Are Us Landscaping. Just imagine what we can do to your property.
And they have different settings too. You can order the medium well, or the rare, or the well done. So good company, good solid business model. We love those guys. And we'll come back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from darkoakmedia.com and our pal Max over there behind the glass. There's just enough time for a quick call or a text at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989.
I've really appreciated the traction on the text line, or just in general with regards to, what is your favorite song that incorporates bagpipes? And Joe, you never mentioned yours.
Well, I mean, it was the same one as yours. It's that John, what is it? John
Parham.
John Parham, You're the Voice. It's mostly just because Hot Rod is one of my favorite comedies. It's just hilarious. And I don't want to give spoilers if you haven't seen it, but they play that song, and it's about the most epic bagpipe insertion I've ever seen. It's just great. So that's probably my favorite as well. So, but anyway, if you've got a favorite, you've got time to let us know about that. And also remember, you can also send pictures to the Big M Roofing and Remodeling text line. We've got some, and folks, we would strongly encourage you too. I don't know if you haven't seen the movie The Founder, all about the founding of McDonald's restaurant. I love the McDonald brothers. I'm not such a fan of the other people that got involved later, but it's still a fascinating history, and there's a lot to learn. And actually, there's some good lessons about home ergonomics as well that you can pick up from this. So, but it's time to move it along, Allan. Before we move it along, though, we sometimes neglect to plug what we're doing, so we should do that. So what's going on with Dark Oak Media this week?
Well, of course, the big thing all summer long has been the full podcasting. So big hits, of course. The Food Dude is there, Geek Tank Radio is there, and Tool Talk Radio is there. So we are actually getting listeners from all around the world. It's fun to go on and look at the hit list and go, wow, we're in New Zealand and Australia and Japan, Finland. But, I would throw this in, guys. If you're listening from outside the country, man, send us a text.
That's what's lacking. We
would love to hear what you're up to.
Yeah, and let us know what, home improvement things you have. Or, what else would be cool, Alan? I want to know what sort of tools they pick up at their big box store. What do you need if you're a homeowner in Australia when you've got boa constrictors coming through your air conditioning system?
Finland, you're not exactly worried about air conditioners, but what kind of heaters have you guys used? We'd love to know.
Yeah, so let us know about that and get in touch. And well, like you said, there's subject matter for anybody at darkoakmedia.com. And if you're a content creator, who knows? Alan might put you on.
I can hook you up.
And I will say, too, I don't know what people's schedules are, but if you ever, usually it's near the end of the Memphis Morning News, you always show up on Thursdays with the Food Dudes segment. And those are always a mixed bag. You never know. Ditch is a very honest critic. If he likes something, he likes it. But if he doesn't, he'll let you know.
That's true.
And it's always interesting to see the reaction that Allan gets. So check that out. I want to plug something. I'm not going to do this every week, but when there's noteworthy news in the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention, I have to mention it because, among other things, we run the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention, and I'm fully justified in saying that here on the radio because we're also partners with Cumulus. They're great partners of ours with the convention, and there's some noteworthy announcements here. Allan, Brandon, we have 2 guests this year. Brandon Potter, who is folks, if you ever watch that TV, it's really a streaming show called The Chosen. He plays Quintus on The Chosen, which is he's like the #1 villain. He's great. He sounds exactly like John Delancey too.
Awesome.
And he's perfect for that. But he's also a big anime voice actor and a video game voice actor. That's how so he has a multiple fan base. But he's going to be at the convention November 23rd and 24th coming up at the University of Memphis Holiday Inn. And then we have a second guest, and I don't know how we managed to do this, Allan, but if anybody is a classic radio fan, the legendary Phil Hendrie, and I mean that, the legendary Phil Hendrie, Hendrie, is coming to the convention Saturday, November 23rd, and this is his first convention ever. This is some serious bragging rights. If you've ever listened to his classic radio show, it is hilarious. It is one of the funniest shows out there, but he still goes today. He's also an on-screen actor, and he also does a lot of voice work, and he's going to do a stand-up improv performance, and you can order tickets, and also if you're one of the first 100 to order tickets, you can get an autograph with him and a free photo op, all for $50. It's really a great deal, and he is hilarious. He's a really nice person too. We did an extensive interview with him, but I can't believe we got him. I've been a fan of his for decades. So go to memphiscfc.com to learn more. It's November 23rd and 24th. But I'm not going to do that every week, Allan. But when we get noteworthy announcements, we got to bring them up. So we got our plugs in. So I'm happy we did that. And I don't know why I'm holding this up, but we're going to shift gears, Max. And I'm holding something up for no reason because the cameras aren't on today. That's why I haven't mentioned it. But I did post a picture of what I'm holding up on our Facebook page. But go ahead, Allan. Tell them what I've got.
You're holding up a small furniture dolly.
Yeah, this is the carpeted version. I have a carpeted furniture dolly.
Does it have a name? Dolly Parton.
Oh, no, that's a good. Max names all of his tools and all of his
weaponry,
even his vehicles, right? I mean, you have the Silver Chariot, Speedwagon, yeah. So, but this is basically, Allan, literally 4 strips of wood. They're about 3/4 of an inch thick, and 4 wheels attached with some carpet padding on the top. This costs $14.
Right.
And I bought 2 of them, and I can't tell you how handy these are. You know this.
I use dollies every day.
This thing this has a weight capacity, I thought I read it wrong, of 600 pounds. It seems impossible.
Nope.
But I've moved refrigerators with these.
Yes.
I've moved. Now, a refrigerator is a little weird because the bottom of the fridge does move around, and you also don't want to damage the coils. I don't 100% recommend it for that, but you want to get this thing under like a couch or a big heavy table or a hutch or something. Man, do these things work great. So and the carpet keeps you from from scratching anything up. But I will say, Alan, if you having the right dolly, that is game changing.
Yes.
I've had those refrigerator dollies where you wrap it around.
Yeah, right.
Folks, if you ever want to, if you want to see a serious dolly, you get a refrigerator dolly. They have wheels on the back of it. They have a strap. I've moved refrigerators up 2 flights of stairs by myself back in the day with the right dolly.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably a stupid thing to do. Actually, I should have had backup, but I didn't. But
I have
dollies rock.
I have 2 brute dollies.
What are those?
Which they go underneath a 55-gallon trash can. They clip into place. So they can safely move a lot of material in a 55-gallon drum. However, you can also use them independent of that, and they will hold about 1,000 pounds each.
It's weird.
And I have rolled bathtubs, cast iron bathtubs around facilities on those bad boys.
Maybe there's I would love to know what the science is, because when I'm looking at this thing, Alan, and it says a 600-pound weight capacity, I'm like, okay, for one thing, these little strips of wood are 3/4 of an inch, and these wheels, the little axle there does not look all that thick. Is it just the great brilliant distribution of weight or something? Science is interesting. I mean,
science is fun.
So get yourself those. Like I said, they are very inexpensive, and they're the kind of thing you can just throw in the closet or the garage. But when you need them, but I will say, if you've got kids, if you don't want them running all over your floor, and they might scuff up the floor, so I don't think I'd leave them out, because they're going to sit on them and push each other around.
Yeah, they're not.
It's not a skateboard. You can't steer these things worth anything if you're standing on them. So don't do that. So. All right, so that's our must-have item of the week. I'm just looking at it. It is interesting, and I'm looking at our notes, and I'm just reflecting on what we've talked about today. And I think a theme that is really emerged is just getting rid of stuff and liberating your life. It is exciting to. It's funny how getting rid of something can be just as exciting as getting something. So.
Getting back free space can be absolutely precious.
And the words getting rid of stuff in New Jersey on National New Jersey Day. How appropriate.
And if we have any listeners left from New Jersey,
just plain wow.
You can send your hate mail to Max over at
No, you can't. You don't know where I am.
Okay. Thanks, Max. Thanks for dropping the mic on that one. So, well, another wide-ranging episode of Tool Talk Radio is in the can. So on behalf of my buddy Allan Gilbreth and the sinister Max over there behind the glass, I'm Joe Thorderson. Thanks for listening to Tool Talk Radio, and we'll see you next week.